my YouTube channel and welcome back to this series. Today we are talking about managing stress and anxiety while you are working as an entrepreneur in your small business. Now, right off the bat, I want to mention one very important key thing to consider and to think about whenever you are working or going about your day-to-day life as an entrepreneur, because what we do can be so time demanding, resource demanding, and you want to be able to recognize the symptoms that you might be burning out or being too stressed. And these signs look very different for everybody. I can list some personally for myself, and also I think it's also important to recognize that, at least for me, the different symptoms that I might be experiencing might require different things to help myself relax and feel better. So let me list a few examples that are true for myself so you can get a better understanding of what I need. So one of my first early signs and symptoms of being too stressed and too overworked is starting to get irritated and agitated very easily, or more easily than I normally would. And as soon as I recognize this, that I am not patient, like maybe I'm not being very patient with my dogs and I'm taking them out on a walk and I don't want to stop everywhere and let them sniff everything, and that's irritating me to the point where I'm like, no, like we're not sniffing anything, then I'm probably a little too stressed, and that is showing that I'm snapping easily, I'm agitated, I'm irritated. I do find that when I'm getting more irritated, if I take a day as a fun day, even if that means just playing video games and eating my favorite ice cream, I can start feeling so much better so quickly. And it really just takes like one evening for me to start feeling a lot better. Symptom number 2 for me is getting really exhausted and feeling like no matter how hard I push myself, I can't dish out any more productivity. Usually I won't notice this in one day because I do tend to push myself a little too much sometimes. So if I am taking one day to work on projects and I am very productive, and the next day I am like, okay, let's repeat that and get the next chunk of things done, and I am feeling more tired and I'm pushing through and I'm feeling a little sluggish, but I get through the day, and then maybe day 3 I'm like hardly getting out of bed and getting the things done, and maybe I slept in a little bit, and by the end of the day I'm like, I don't know if I can do this again. And then by day 4 it's like, I can't do this kind of thing. And like, even if you're pushing yourself, even if you're trying to caffeinate yourself, and even if you're trying to self-talk and get yourself to do the thing, like you're doing things very slowly and you're not doing things to quality and things like that. So when I notice that my productivity is decreasing because I'm getting more sluggish, or I'm just like more tired and more drained, then what I need is I need time to rest. That is something that I need to give myself, and that might not just be a one-day thing depending on how exhausted and tired I am. It might simply be just I need one day to rest and then I am fine. But I think at the bare minimum, I have to give myself that day. I have to let myself sleep in. I have to let myself not work out. I have to let myself not study Japanese. And yes, that is something I've been trying to do every day, as well as my workouts. I have to let myself eat the things that I think that I want and need to feel nourished and full, which might mean that I am not sticking to a calorie restricted diet. That might mean that I'm in bed pretty much all day just watching YouTube videos. But it doesn't matter. If I'm feeling very tired and sluggish, and I'm not even getting things done at all anyway because I'm just too tired, then it actually works out to my advantage productivity wise to be more productive if I actually take that day off. You can't be productive if you're just gonna sluggishly go through your work day every single day. Take that day off, recoup, rejuvenate, and then you can go back to your work the next day feeling rested, and you can be productive and you can do quality work, because that's another thing. Even if you can push yourself through, you can also reduce your quality output because you are not working optimally, and that is why rest and rejuvenation is so important. I think, like, I definitely have my moments in life where I am not giving myself a single day off during the work week, but I do highly recommend, and I do try to do this for myself too, is to give yourself at least one entire day every single week where even if you are getting like work done for like an hour in the day, take the rest of that day off and let yourself sleep in. Do not say, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. so I can get this hour done and the rest of the day is mine. Let yourself sleep in and have the day for yourself to recoup and rejuvenate if you are feeling those symptoms of exhaustion. The third symptom that I very often experience is a very tightness in my throat, and I know that that comes from anxiety. I have really bad anxiety. I've had anxiety all my life. It stems from childhood things. I've done story times on my channel and I will probably continue those videos. But any kind of stress that I start experiencing in life, when I am trying to learn a new language, when I'm trying to lose some weight, when I'm trying to work really hard in my business, that is stress that I'm accumulating on my mind and my body, and that makes my anxiety worse too, and that actually puts me into a bit of I think what is hypervigilance, which is where you're in a state of kind of always being alert and always like ready to go kind of thing, and that is something that I think, as far as I understand it, you can experience just by getting to the point of working like crazy all the time, which I have been doing lately. But I am trying to remind myself of my own, advice of taking time off and things like that. Because, for instance, I don't want to get agitated and potentially take that out on someone else. And I want to show up to my work with putting in quality effort and that kind of thing too. So generally, when I'm starting to feel the tightness in my throat, I need to slow down. That probably doesn't mean that I'm going to be going out and partying that night, but it does probably mean that I'm going to be taking at least one day off from work. Sometimes when I'm that stressed and anxious, it's because I'm lacking in self-care. Maybe I don't have a workout routine. Maybe I'm not drinking enough water. Maybe I'm not taking my vitamins. Maybe I'm not eating the right foods. So sometimes all I do need in that moment is just self-care. The problem though is that if I really do fall off of a healthy, balanced lifestyle in that sort of way, it can take much, much, much longer than a single day to try and fix that problem, which is why consistency is very important. But if I do fall off of healthy eating and exercising regularly and drinking enough water and all that, it is really important that I take the steps every single day to put an effort to build that up again, because I find, especially for me at least, if I don't have a self-care routine, then I can start feeling really stressed and burnt out and tightness in the throat and anxious. I mean, I can also feel anxious while having a self-care routine, but I feel like it's just so much worse and more severe if I do not have that self-care routine. If I have that self-care routine in place, I do find that what I require to feel rested and rejuvenated and de-stressed might only take, say, like a day, versus if I didn't have that self-care routine, maybe I will burn out really hard and I will need like at least a week to rejuvenate and recover again, because I need to put in the work and the effort to start building in those self-care habits and start feeling physically and mentally better. So I wanted to list those 3 symptoms for me because I wanted to stress the importance of the various requirements to de-stress yourself from work, and those do include rest and rejuvenation, self-care, and also having fun and entertaining yourself and indulging in pleasurable things. It's so funny how a person can push themselves to be great and to achieve things, and to the point where they're not experiencing or allowing themselves to experience even the most basic pleasures in life. It is such a random shower thought I had, but literally I was in the shower and the water, I've been taking cold showers because I've heard that that's good for you for various reasons, right? And I want to do ice baths, but I want to progress to that. So I've been taking cold showers, and I actually do not like cold showers. I've never liked cold showers. I love a warm, hot shower. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I've been indulging in hot showers like every single day, and I've been getting a hot shower, and now that I'm not giving myself that hot shower, it is such a pleasure to indulge in a hot shower, that moment that I allow myself to have it. Very similarly, when you're eating healthy, 6 days a week, and on the 7th day you're like, I'm going to allow myself to have a cheat meal. That is so much pleasure that you're giving yourself. Working hard for 6 days of the week, and then on the 7th day you're like, let's go out, let's see a movie, let's go to a party, whatever it is, you are allowing yourself to indulge in something pleasurable. And I think that it is so important to give yourself space every single week to indulge in things that are pleasurable to you, because if you aren't experiencing pleasurable things, you can get irritated. It's also accumulating stress too, and you want to mitigate stress as much as possible, because if you don't, there are real long-term consequences that can come up, and they're not fun, and they can be serious long-term complications to those things. It could be a health condition, for instance, right? So managing your stress is really important, and knowing your warning signs is really important, and paying attention to your body, how you're feeling. I want to bring this up. It's a little bit random, but not really. So I was just recently listening to a podcast about on Matthew Hussey, and he is like a relationships expert, but he mentioned something about pleasure buttons. And he was saying, every single time I feel and experience joy, or I think it was joy or happiness or something like that, I want to write it down, because I want to know my buttons that I can push for myself to feel joy and feel happiness, because he didn't know what those ones were. It's kind of funny because I didn't realize I was already doing those things, but in the same instance, you can identify these buttons that trigger you positively into being able and desiring to do a certain thing. For instance, I will share a trigger button with you that I personally have been doing, that I've been doing for a while. I didn't even realize I was necessarily doing it. That is that whenever I start watching these YouTube videos of these people that are doing these things that are for instance, a K-pop training to me is so inspiring. They're going after their goal, they're going after the dream, they're persevering, they're putting in so much effort. It's emotional, it's blood, sweat, tears kind of situation, right? And when I watch something like that, it really drives and pushes my trigger buttons to be like, I need to get out of the bed. I need to go get to work. Like, I want this for myself too. I want what I want, and I have to put in the effort to get that. So that's kind of like a trigger button that I actually utilize to my advantage to get myself to be productive. In that same way, you can identify positive triggers for yourself that can be beneficial as well. But yes, these are the 3 things that I find that really help reduce your stress levels, and it really helps to be able to identify which of these 3 you need in the moment, and maybe you need all 3. But if you can identify exactly which one you are in need of in the moment, you can help yourself rejuvenate and replenish your energy levels, and also de-stress yourself. Unfortunately, being a content creator can be very stress-inducing, but there are so many things that we can do for ourselves to take care of ourselves, and hopefully all the information that I provided in this video is also very helpful. So yes, this is my video all about stress and how to manage it. Of course, as always, if you have a question that is burning in your brain that you want me to answer for you, please comment down below what that question is, and I am going to be getting to all these questions with the last video in the series, which is going to be a Q&A, and I am so excited to answer every single one of your questions for you. And with that being said, definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel down below, turning on that notifications button on so you don't miss the next part in this video series. I am doing the Q&A last, but the next video is going to be all about your dreams, your aspirations, and long-term planning, and I will also share with you some of my own. Well, that's it for me today. See you till next time.